Showbiz with Leigh Drew.
Over the years, the production company has brought to the stage in Melbourne some wonderful, wonderful world's first musicals. Curtains, which opens on August the 20th at the Arts Centre in Melbourne, is the second in this year's offering from the production company. Appearing as Georgia Hendricks in Curtains is my next guest, Lucy Maunder. And we're waiting on Lucy to come online now. But let me just play you a little sample of what the soundtrack is like. No, it's not going to do it for us, no. All right. We often have those little hiccups here, but we'll see if we can get it back for you and let you hear what the soundtrack really sounds like before Lucy joins us. I think we might have it up there now, so have a listen to this. And let's say a very good afternoon to Lucy Maunder. Lucy, nice to have you with us today.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
How does that sound in the background there? A little bit of music that you might recognise?
Yeah, we just finished a run of the show, actually.
How did it go?
And that is, it was great. It's mental, as you know. It's only been a 2-week rehearsal period, but it's amazing what can be achieved in that time, and I think it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for people to see the show. It's never been done in Australia before, and I don't know why, because it's a gem.
Lucy, I was saying when we were trying to get you on air there a second ago and the phones were going, the production company brings lots of great shows to Melbourne, lots of wonderful musicals, and this is another one of those. And as you just said, we've never seen it in Australia, and you really wonder, the music is just superb.
It is, it's wonderful. And people, when you say the show Curtains, then not, little to no people have ever heard of it. And it's Kander and Ebb, and some of their best music, I think. And I love the show, and it's laugh a second. It's hysterically funny. So,
well, yeah, it's set back in 1959 from memory, and it's an opening night of what was called Robin Hood of the Old West, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Robin Hood of the Old West.
The backstage murder.
So, exactly. Yeah. So it's set on the opening night of that show in Boston, and the leading lady, Jessica Cranshaw, is murdered at the curtain call of the opening night. And then, Lieutenant Frank Chaffee, who's played by the divine Simon Gleeson, comes in and tries to, he's the homicide detective, and he tries to work out who it is that's killed her, and everybody becomes a murder suspect. And subsequently, about 4 other people get killed on stage. It's a lot of action and a lot of hilarity, but it's great.
Now, don't give anything away, but I hope you're not killed off.
Well, look, I'm just going to say you're going to need to come and see the show. But no, I'm part of the songwriting team that wrote Robin Hood. So Georgia and Aaron, Georgia Hendricks and Aaron Fox are the composer and lyricist of the show. So,
you have to stay. You have to stay, don't you? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What's it like doing a show? You mentioned the 2-week run time or this and rehearsal time. You get your scripts, I think, a month or so before, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And you go through that, and you've got to learn the songs. You've got to then learn your dialogue and so on. And then you bring it all together. How hard is that in a short space of time?
It's challenging just because there's not a whole lot of time to finesse in these periods. So, and particularly with a show like Curtains, which is it's mental from start to finish. There's so much that happens and so many little scenes, and the whole company is on stage for a lot of it, and huge production numbers. So we spend every single minute of the rehearsals kind of getting through the show, and then suddenly it's the end of the second week and you're into the theatre already, which is good because, you don't get in a comedy, sometimes in a long rehearsal period, it's so desperate to get onto the stage and to have an audience because you need to find out where the beats are and where the laughs happen, especially because once the rehearsal room has seen those jokes, once or twice, they no longer sort of seem funny to anyone again. But so you kind of start going, oh, is it still working? And then an audience comes in and reinvigorates the whole thing. So
the laughter bursts.
Yeah, very much. So we're really looking forward to having an audience. But yeah, it's certainly challenging, and I've not done a production company show before, so it's my first one, and it's been joyous. So yeah, the cast is fantastic, and the creative team are wonderful.
Well, you've been a busy girl since you graduated from Whopper in 2006. Yeah. You've had lots of roles. Heather's the musical that comes up. Dr. Zhivago, wasn't that a magnificent part of Lara that you played?
Yeah,
one of my favourites.
Oh yeah, me too, absolutely, and
a very touching story.
It is. And yeah, highly emotional, and that was definitely a huge highlight, and really rare to have the opportunity to be able to create a role in a new musical in Australia. I've actually done that twice now with Ladies in Black just recently as well, but that was an Australian story, and but yeah, a world premiere of a show with an American creative team, and not just doing the same blocking and the same moves that the original cast did, and that happens a lot in Australia because we tend to get things after Broadway or the West End, and so things are the same as how they were over there because it's such a well-oiled machine. I mean, I'm going into Matilda in March next year, and that will, I'm sure, be it's so about not confusing the children, and the choreography is very, very meticulous. So it's the same for every one of the children that comes up, and so that's going to be a really interesting process as well because I've never done a show with kids.
You'll be doing Matilda in Sydney, are you?
No, when it tours. So I'm taking over the role of Miss Honey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So after it leaves Melbourne,
it's been a great success, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful
success.
Absolutely wonderful. And, of course, your background and what you're doing just doesn't stop there. You're joining up with Ian Stenlake shortly. Ian was on just before you, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
and he said you and he are going to be performing up north, I think in Queensland, he was saying, wasn't he?
Yes. We're doing a concert on Broadbeach called Opera in the Park. So, yeah, we basically have to sing every song that was written for a male and a female in the musical theatre repertoire. So we'll be making sure that we rest our voices before, because it's certainly a lot. But I can't wait. I can't wait to work with him again. So yeah.
He's a nice bloke. He really is.
Yeah.
And of course, one woman show of which you got a CD out too now. Irving Berlin, Songs in the Key of Black. Now that toured Melbourne and Sydney. A great CD, lovely music on it. How did you get involved with Irving Berlin?
I wasn't one of those kids that sort of was brought up on The Simpsons or in any cartoons. My dad was straight into the MGM movie musicals, and That's Entertainment and Esther Williams and all of that kind of that old world stuff. My favourite actress was Rita Hayworth, and one of my favourite films right from the earliest age I can remember was a film called Blue Skies with Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire, and that
movie
features all of the music of Irving Berlin, and I didn't really realise that it was all Irving Berlin music until probably I was just looking at what to do for a one-woman show because I had a date booked to do a cabaret, and I was speaking to Dad about it, and I just kept mentioning the songs that I wanted to sing, and I noticed that 80 to 90% of them were all Irving Berlin, and then I went through the Berlin songbook, and I realized by default how many of his tunes I absolutely adored, and he's one of my favorite composers from that era. In fact, my favorite, I would say. I just find his music so heartfelt and simple in its lyrics, but incredibly poignant and touching and smart as well, without being, it's a different kind of style to the Cole Porter acerbic wit, but it's just
full of emotion, full of meaning, isn't it?
Very much, yeah, and full of emotion. And so I just thought, not many people, especially of my generation, had explored that era, and I really wanted to shine a light on it and update some of the arrangements. And so Daniel Edmonds and I got together and created our own arrangements of a lot of the stuff, but kept it in that kind of honky-tonk era. And the show's just been a joy to do. We've done it at the Adelaide Cabaret Festival and the Spiegel Tent, and in Sydney and Melbourne at Chapel Off Chapel, and Perth, and yeah, it's one of those things that I would happily do at any point in the future. It's such a joy.
Lucy, we can get hold of the CD on iTunes, can't we?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Okay, they are listeners there. So if you want to get hold of that, please do. And the CD, again, is called, looking at my Q notes here quickly, give me the name of it again, will you?
The song of the CD?
Irving Berlin, yep, Songs in the Key of Black, isn't it? That's it. Good.
Because he wrote everything on the black notes.
Didn't he? Yes, the whole 5 of them. Yeah, very, very clever man,
Yes.
Playing all those lovely flats and sharps. We look forward to seeing you at Curtains on the opening night. It's the 20th through to the 28th at the Arts Centre here in Melbourne. It's the second for the production company this year, and you're very, very first, Lucy. We wish you all the best with that. I know you'll star, and we'll look forward to seeing you on stage.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. As we go out, I'm going to play a little track for you and for our listeners to have a listen to you sing.
Fabulous.
Okay, bye.